today on the Unsettled, I'm going to be discussing a case with Will, and this case could go anywhere. Could get us banned. Not many people have covered it in the way that we're about to. And yeah, if you're new here, don't forget to subscribe and like our content, because I feel that a part of it probably will get worse as the weeks progress.
Yeah, there's a few cases that are.
I mean, people thought Mr. Cruel was bad. There's one case I'm particularly looking forward to, along with this one.
Yeah.
But there's one case that I'm just like, oh, the public need to hear it in this sense. So if you're new here, like I said, don't forget to subscribe. And we're going to be discussing the case of the Dardeen family murders. This case we're about to talk about could lead us anywhere from cult sacrifice, which was present in the 1980s.
Yeah.
Especially in the USA. It could also lead us to an already convicted murderer wanting more deaths to his belt, or it could possibly sway you into thinking perhaps something else. Something else entirely, anyway. So as I said, in today's episode we'll be discussing and trying to figure out the horrific murders of the family of the Dardeens in 1987. The case is cold, mad. The victims suffered. With all of our content, as we often say, viewer discretion is advised for this one.
Oh yeah.
And as I said, we're now settled. This is the Dardeen family murders. So
Let's get into it.
you sure? Okay, we'll get into it. Is it South Illinois? Illinois? Illinois. I don't think I've ever been there. So in South Illinois, a gruesome murder took place. It was known as a sleepy town.
Yeah.
A stone... Well, there was like a stone's throw away from the gas station. It was like a really small town, shall we just begin? There was a firehouse, a bank, a post office, and a tiny little supermarket in this town.
Shoppy, yeah.
It was known as, like I said, the sleepy town, a very quiet place.
Yeah, so it's Ena, just outside of Illinois.
Oh. It sounds like a little blimp.
Yeah, it's literally
a little
pinprick on the
dot. So Keith Dardeen and his wife Elaine lived in a rented,
basically on a caravan. It's a mobile home, basically.
okay, we'll go with the mobile home.
Yeah.
Yeah, nestled away near Woodland. The base route was near the 37, just outside of what you just said, Ena, whatever you want to call it. They lived with their 2-year-old son Peter, and Elaine was expecting their second child.
Yeah.
A girl they was going to call Casey. Keith worked as a treatment plant operator, while Elaine worked in an office supply store.
Yep.
I'd say they came from a very working class family at this point. And they seem pretty devoted.
Yeah.
I would like to add, there is other speculation that the family would participate in swingers, but we'll probably get into that in a little bit. In their free time, Keith and Elaine played in the musical at their local church.
Yeah.
So they seem like regular good doers.
Yeah, seems like a very
minus
white
swingers.
picket fence kind of.
Yeah.
Family.
Oh, I don't know. Where they lived soon became riddled in crime, though. From burglaries to murders, it became increasingly violent, and the couple wanted to avoid this and wanted to move. The rapes and murders were on the increase as well. And Keith, being very protective of his family, wanted to move back to where he actually came from, which was Mount Caramel.
Yeah.
So this was his plan. He would often tell his mother on the phone, you know, as I said, he was rather protective over his family.
Yeah.
Despite him looking like Mario.
Yeah.
He was very protective, and I guess this kind of gives you a inkling into how protective he was. A woman knocked on his door wanting to use the phone. He actually refused the entry to a woman to his mobile home. He simply was like, no one's coming in. You know, it was very, yeah. He was aware of all the crimes lately and wanted to protect his family to the best of his ability. So quite frankly, he did what most fathers and husbands would do and protect them.
Yeah.
Yet, on the 18th of November, Keith never showed up for work or rang in sick. This was extremely out of character for him, as he would often go into work and would call up if he was ever ill.
Yeah.
His supervisor instantly seemed concerned and called him. When he got no response, he called Keith's parents, yet Keith's parents couldn't get through to Keith either. No answer. So Keith's parents called the police. They arranged to meet them at the house with a spare key.
Yeah.
Everyone knew this was weird at this point. Yet, the horror that awaited them inside this house, they had not yet discovered. You feeling a bit iffy on this one? Okay. As the police and Keith's parents looked around the home.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
You sure?
Yeah.
There was no indication of a struggle. They then saw it. They discovered the bodies of Elaine, Peter, their son, and the baby, Casey, a newborn girl, tucked in bed.
Yep.
Seemed like they were fast asleep. I love this case. I like this like the Black Dahlia.
Yeah.
I do. Elaine and Peter had both been bound and gagged before being brutally beaten to death with Peter's baseball bat, which their father brought him when he was 2 years old. Elaine suffered a blow on the right top of her head, which fractured her skull, and Peter suffered numerous abrasions and contusions, and his skull was fractured.
It's brutal.
And they were tucked into bed.
Yeah.
After this took place.
It's brutal. Like the
So-
killings happened in the bed.
Yeah, and the fact that they were actually tucked in bed afterwards, like the duvet was put over them, they were put in, it is a bit of a weird one. So we'll just let this sink in for a bit. As I just said, like, a woman and a 2-year-old boy had their heads smashed in with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
Now let's get to the more gruesome part. During this sadistic attack, Elaine gave birth. So as soon as Casey was born, entering the world, the killer took one look at her and beat the newborn to death. That's pretty brutal.
It's sick.
It's brutal. The killer then put all 3 of them in the same bed and attempted to clean up the mess, then pulled the bed/duvet sheet over them to make it look like they were all just sleeping.
Gives you that sick feeling, doesn't it? It's like, ugh.
It also makes me think that this killer went to a lovely length to make sure that they looked like they were resting very peacefully. Not something, may I add, a male killer would do. Seems like something a woman would do, maybe showing a bit of remorse. A woman's more likely to tidy the place up than a man, I'm not gonna lie.
No, that's true.
Yeah, exactly.
It's true.
So, the investigation began. Unable to find Keith, he became the #1 suspect.
Which you would be, you know.
To slaughtering his whole family. His car was missing as well. However, the next day, Keith's body was discovered by hunters in a wheat field, approximately a mile from his home. Keith had been shot once in the frontal skull and on the right side of his face and his left cheek. So that's 3 shots to his face.
Yeah.
Right. Additionally, if that wasn't enough, his penis was cut clean off. Yeah, again, another penis missing.
Literally. Like,
Are we ever going to do a case where they find a dead body on the side of the road and the
they
penis?
haven't
Yeah,
mutilated
yeah,
the genitals.
they either haven't found the penis and it's not there, or it. I mean, right now I'm wondering where the penis is. Okay, his car was actually found parked outside the police station, 11 miles from Keith's home.
Yeah.
So
in
it's
Benton.
yeah.
Just outside.
Was this to taunt the police? Perhaps. It makes it a lot more entertaining if you think the killer was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna park the car here."
This here and
Yeah.
they'll never know.
The inside of his car was splattered with blood, indicating Keith was murdered and it was not suicide. He was killed in the car. Autopsies couldn't figure out who died first, but it was clear.
No, they roughly think it's like within an hour.
Yeah.
They've narrowed it down within an hour of his famine, basically.
So the autopsy possibly revealed that Elaine gave birth during the ordeal.
Yeah.
And it also said
Like to get to that point,
to be that scared to
to
give
that
birth.
scared and that obviously beaten,
Yeah.
to then induce labour.
Right, they'll give you a rough idea on who died first. So the 2-year-old was killed first. So imagine the mother's already horrific ordeal seeing their 2-year-old being smashed in.
Mm.
Then she's that scared she gives birth. They kill her. Then they kill the newborn.
So it's Peter,
Yep. Elaine, and then Casey.
and then Keith about an hour later.
Mm.
So do you think Keith was kept inside that house while they
I
killed
have a
his
really
wife?
good theory on this, and I will get to
We'll
it.
get to that later. But
So investigators were stumped to find motivation. Sure, they was murdered, but why? And what was their move after? So cash was on the side, jewellery on the counter, a video camera, which in the 1980s was pretty expensive, was still laying on the table, and nothing made sense.
So they've drawn out burglary.
Yeah, this wasn't the normal in the area, okay?
No, there had been 15 homicides.
And I would also like to point out, Elaine wasn't sexually assaulted, so there was no rape or sexual assault motivation here either.
There was no.
Also, there was no sign of forced entry into the property.
So they knew them.
The back door was also unlocked, so they came in possibly through the back door. Just a thought.
Or went out through
Yeah.
the back door.
So while Keith had been sexually mutilated, investigators ruled out no sexual motivation, no affairs, no money issues, no personal grudges with anyone. They did find a small amount of marijuana in their home, but due to the autopsies, no drugs was found in the family's body, so they possibly thought the killer was smoking marijuana after committing the crimes and left a bit of tobacco and marijuana on site. Investigators believe, due to the brutality of the murders, that it was not rare to assume that a cult was behind it, using them as a sacrifice for the devil himself. This is the 1980s, this is the USA. It was ridden in some brainwashing cults.
Yeah.
So keep this in mind, that cults were a very big thing back then. And this could have possibly been a sacrifice, especially with a newborn child.
Very
New
true.
blood.
There's a lot of occult-ish.
And they did go to church. So we could make a good tie here with church. One being the fact that she is pregnant, kill the newborn, it would possibly resurrect the devil, you know what cults are like. Yeah?
True. There are many circumstances of that.
It's, probably. The detectives all decided the Dardeen family was chosen. So that makes it even more creepy that they were watched and then chosen. This wasn't a passion or this wasn't someone with a passion or a drifter casually killing them.
No.
Moving to the next step.
No, it wasn't
One
a passion kill.
No. One noticeable thing to point out, the killer was let in, then left the home with Keith.
Through the back door,
As I said, possibly, a group. Could this be a cult? We don't know. The killer killed Keith, then went back to finish Elaine and Peter, as they are both bound and gagged. Remember, Keith was not bound and gagged. He was just shoved in the car.
True.
So what are you thinking so far? Okay. Keith's mother... Okay. Keith's mother didn't give up even when the case went cold. She began calling out a police station, giving her own theories. Maybe someone wanted Keith to buy drugs, possibly sell them. Maybe it was someone they knew. She didn't give up for at least 10 months every day. One theory she stated or assumed was maybe Elaine turned down someone's advances. This is now... Okay, right. Was Keith's mum given an insight into their marriage of Keith and Elaine as possibly being in an open relationship with others? And she refused.
Okay.
Right. One major lead was a serial killer. His name was Tommy. Have you got anything about Tommy?
I do.
Oh, he does. He has something about Tommy, which is good.
Tommy Lynn Sells.
Yeah.
Basically, as we've said in with this case. There's no suspects were formally identified.
No.
In this case, until early 2000s. After a serial killer, Tommy Lynn Sells, following his conviction and death sentence for murdering a teenage girl in Texas, claimed to have committed the crime. However, he was never charged since prison authorities there would not let him leave the state to assist police in South Illinois with their investigation. I don't know why they couldn't take the interview there.
I'm with you. Right, so about this Tommy character. Right. He said while in prison, Keith picked me up at the gas station, invited me for dinner and a freeway with his wife Elaine. Detectives found his story changed and couldn't suspect him of the murdering the Dardeen family, but was accountable for at least 12 murders and 14
Within
rapes.
the area.
But said he had killed around 70 people.
Yeah, he got, as I said, he got picked up in Texas.
But what
after killing this teenage girl.
Obviously, I've gone into a lot of these cases, and I've often found that when killers and murderers kill someone, they seem to brag about killing others because they watch a little snippet in prison and they're like, "Oh, I did that," or they did this. They seem to try and make themselves more scary,
more have a reputation.
And like I said, most criminals lie just to make them sound more fucked up than they are. Tommy was put to death in 2014 in Texas, and still no one knows why or who killed the Dardeen family.
No, but the family do have doubts about his story.
I'm not
as I said, it changed it every time they.
I read online that a lot of people were suspecting the Dardeen family as being swingers, and the church didn't like that, so the church got rid of that. Does this make sense?
Yes,
I mean, they got married in the church, right?
True.
Right, they worked at the church, and then rumours started circulating they were sex workers or swingers. And the church didn't like it, so they got rid of them. Right, so I'm going to get into a couple of things I'll put down here. It could well be a cult. The mutilation of Keith's genitals, the sadistic behaviour. It is possible Keith was held at gunpoint while others tied up, Elaine and Peter, then took Keith out of the house, killed him, went back to finish off the witnesses, right? It is very plausible why possibly murder the whole family. That was the only thing I couldn't quite figure out, right?
Yeah, the kids technically were innocent.
So that's what made me think, is it the church?
Yeah, but even though the church would take the children and kill the parents. Brainwash the children, say that they'd left.
Tommy doesn't have a good motive.
No.
Not gonna lie. Oh yeah, he picked me up at the gas station, we went back for dinner, we had a freeway, then I thought, nah, fuck it, I'm killing him. It doesn't
kill
make
the whole
sense.
family.
It doesn't make sense. I don't think it would be him.
No.
Now, my main guess is it was a woman.
See, I
Right.
Yeah, no. It could be for different reasons.
The bat was used spontaneously. So it was just there as the weapon, basically.
Yeah, as anything close to
Right.
hand.
The gun used on Keith was only used on him due to the fact he is male and he's more stronger.
build.
Yeah, right. It gives power advantage being a woman over a man for a woman to have a gun.
Yeah.
Right. A heavily pregnant woman and a 2-year-old, there's no need for a gun. Easy killings. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, they're not going to pop.
Right. Is it possible the woman who wanted to use the phone months prior did so to see who lived there?
Ooh.
Right. Scope the place out. Also, I don't see a woman, or a man, sorry, putting bodies under a bedsheet. As this shows remorse, as I said.
Yeah, it does
Right.
show remorse.
A woman perhaps showed remorse to what she had done, covered the bodies. I also think this woman may have done it out of jealousy. Maybe a member of the church or another, or she was obsessed with Keith. Maybe an old lover. And then I also put down 90% of women are crazy. But
Just to get that.
yeah, just to shoot them. No, but it would make more sense. The bat was used spontaneously. It could have been the woman that wanted to use the phone a couple of months prior.
Yeah.
She could have made advances towards Keith, and Keith shot her down, saying, "Look, I'm happily married." She became obsessed with him.
Yeah.
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 And then it was like, "No, fuck it. I'm gonna kill your family." And drugs do crazy things.
Very true.
Your thoughts?
So,
So
you're in the ballpark.
I'm in the ballpark,
Yeah,
but I ain't hit the ball yet.
Right,
I've got to hit the ball. Okay, go on. This was my thought process.
No.
It's a good thought. It's a very good one.
So when I read through this,
Yeah.
now it seems to me like obviously he does like that. Maybe he does like that swinger style.
He has got the mustache for it.
Well, yeah, that's what I mean. Like,
He's got the plumber porn mustache.
yeah. So
Mario, you dirty fuck! I knew you like your plunger. He is a plumber and all.
He is a plumber.
Oh my god! Probably got Luigi involved.
Ooh.
Yoshi.
That's a whole different.
But go on.
So, my kind of theory was
Go on.
that maybe obviously he liked it a bit too much,
Oh.
and maybe obviously, you know, it's like Elaine's now pregnant, so she's probably like backed away from that.
Sexual appetite.
Sexual
She don't want
appetite
to do
for
it.
beer.
He's been having an affair.
Exactly.
Is this your thought process?
Yeah, from another lady in the church.
She has also found out possibly that.
So this female
I'm
that
liking
was wanting to answer the
use the
phone a few weeks back.Maybe this is how it started. That's the
No,
excuse that
I've
he'd
got
given.
it. I've got it. She knocked on the caravan door.
Mm.
Didn't say, "Can I use your phone?" She said, "We need to talk." He said, "I'm not here." Go away, and closes the door, hiding everything from Elaine and his son.
Mm-hmm.
And yet she's there saying, "Are you married?" He's like, "No!" Slams the door. And then when Elaine asks him, "Who was that?" She wanted to borrow the phone. And if you come round here again, I'm going to shoot you. And she's like, "No, motherfucker, I'm going to fuck you up.
I'm gonna get you
I'm going to
first."
fuck you up in a couple of months."
Yeah.
We solved it!
It's basically the gist of it.
We
yeah,
solved
it's
it.
A jolted lover. That's what
I'm so
I
happy.
put it down to.
I'm so happy we solved it. Do you want to add anything? We solved the case. Yes! We solved the case! Even the dog agreed! Yes, lady! We solved it! No?
No, nothing on that one. It's only when we're talking.
Fuck you then. Fuck you. Fuck you and your bonky eyes.
But no, that's yeah, basically that's what I concluded it down to. Maybe it was as I said, a jilted lover. Yeah, a jilted lover.
So the dog agrees. What do you guys think? I mean, it's a horrific death. The whole family got slaughtered.
Like,
There's a reason behind it. Or are we just going to go with the whim that the cult wanted to use them as a human sacrifice?
well, because the family only got beaten to death. Like, yeah, okay, it's very gruesome.
But there was no witchcrafty.
But there was no
Omega.
taking of body parts, which you would expect from an occultist.
Nice. I
Like-
like it. I like it.
You would
got
expect
it in one.
something.
You got it in one.
So, yeah,
That's your thoughts.
that's my thoughts.
A woman that Keith had been
A jilted lover.
basically he'd been having a bit of fun because his wife ain't giving it because she's pregnant. You know, like most pregnant
Well,
women do.
maybe she's like just backed away from the lifestyle for a bit because obviously she's pregnant.
Which is quite depressing.
Yeah, like obviously.
For Keith.
Yeah, for Keith it is
For
very
Keith.
depressing.
Keith ain't getting no nookie.
Like,
or
he
nicky.
can't include his partner. Maybe that was the deal.
Oh yeah, because she's pregnant. Oh, you're on it.
So
You're on it. Oh hey, would you like a foursome? Oh wait, my wife's pregnant.
yeah.
I'm gonna have to do this solo. Nice.
And then she's like, "Oh no, you ain't doing it. Blah blah blah."
So
blah,
this
blah,
woman
blah.
turns up to his caravan, says, "Oi!"
We need to whatever.
He
blah, blah,
slams
blah.
it. Whole family's fucked, and it right. So we could at least assume that it was a woman.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Do you think it's a woman? Do you think it's a cult? I mean, I'd love it to be a cult.
Yeah,
We like cults.
We
like cults. What do you think? Woman? Okay. So, we're the Unsettled. Don't forget to subscribe.
Leave a like, and we'll catch you next time.
We have a masked man for our next case. Stay tuned.